What is up, guys? Welcome back to yet another episode of Pink Lemonade. Today I'm here with my friend Josh Leyva. We've known each other for a while, and he's agreed to join us on this episode of Pink Lemonade. So I'm going to let him introduce himself and tell you guys a little bit about who he is and what he does.
Thanks, man. Well, dude, honestly, first off, thanks for having me on the podcast. I've wanted to kind of be a part of one for a while, and I've never really been able to make it happen. So this is kind of cool.
Yeah,
being able to be a
glad
part
you're
of
here.
this. Thanks, man. Yeah. So yeah, dude, I mean, obviously, yeah, we go back a few years now, and it's been pretty surreal, like seeing like how far like we've come, I guess in that time.
Yeah.
A lot of things have happened, but dude, you learn so much from everything. So yeah, I guess back to like who I am, I guess I'll start with that. My name is Josh Leyva, as Matias pointed out. I'm a 25-year-old content creator and currently based out of Arkansas. And I've had the opportunity to do photography here for quite a few years now. I guess I started when I would have been like 12, 13, I would say, when I got a little digital camera that my mom gave to me. And I remember that was so special. I had looked at one for a long time, and I was like completely in awe, like the day like he gave it to me. It was such an amazing day. But yeah, from there, I mean, taking it from just those humble beginnings, and learning from that point, back when YouTube was starting, back when Instagram was at its youth.
Dang, back in the days.
Like that goes back. And from that point, it's just kind of always something that I've had an interest in, with that photography side to it. And I've learned so much from that time. And I think that's something that you kind of just constantly build on. And I guess that goes for any field, any art, that you're into, any skill that you develop.
Right.
But for me, was definitely that photo side that I kind of stuck to and continued on for a while. But yeah, it's been good.
One of the things about Josh is, like, in case anyone is curious, and I still think this is like one of the most like important things to mention. A lot of people like that follow me on social media, like those who like love my work and like praise my work for what it is. Like, you guys may or may not know this. Most of you probably don't know this, but like Josh is actually the person who like essentially like taught me how to do things. Like, so this man here like straight up taught me how to edit. Like, everything that I know now, I wouldn't say like everything, but like the initial, like the beginning of how to edit things and how to have that workflow and how to do things with photography, like editing wise. Like, Josh is the one that taught me everything. So everything you see now, like, just kind of like put that in your head while you're listening to this. This guy is like the guy that showed me essentially how to start. So big ups to Josh. You're the one that like showed me it. And I remember back in the day where like you'd come over to my house and you'd bring your computer over, and like you'd let me use your computer and like mess around with the settings and stuff. And then like you'd even let me borrow it for like a week, and then I'd sit there at my house with your computer just editing the pictures. And like he pretty much essentially like taught me, like, I wouldn't say like my mentor, but like he taught me at the beginning how to get started, how to mess with the settings and stuff. And like to me, that's like a very like important part of like the whole journey that I've been on. So yeah,
dude, I appreciate that, man. That's and honestly, the thing is that I was still progressing and learning that whole time as well too. It wasn't like you achieve a level and like, okay, you now know everything there is to know about this certain topic. Like, dude, there's so much that I've continued to learn, and I know you have too. On your side as well. But that's what it's about, I think. As far as like, I guess, kind of tying into like what is your influence, what's something that inspires you, going into that. And I think that's something that even from like the stuff that we've been able to be a part of, creating content wise, whether that be photography or the films that we've shot, is just that we're always sharing these ideas, back and forth, and that creates to just more ideas happening. And it kind of just expands from there.
The creativity spark between us, I think, is like once like back in the day when we first started to hang out and to like create together. I think one of the things that kind of like sticks out to me is like the fact that once I had an idea, like you'd be so invested into like helping me like make it come to life, because like not only did you want to see it come to life, but like I think you trusted that whatever I had in my head like was going to be like a good outcome. I think like that's important with a lot of people nowadays, that if you have somebody that you think has like that potential, or you think that can like have the imagination to be creative, that one person that trusts in you, that one person that like trusts your ideas before they're even born, is like very important. I think like that's one of the things, like back in the day, like I would tell you like, oh, I have this idea, let's go out and do this, or let's shoot this film.
We would just go out and shoot.
That's what we would do. Like we'd go out and we'd just hang out, we'd shoot, we'd figure out if it was actually a good idea or not. And most of the time, like we found out like right then and there, like, okay, this is gonna be good. And it wouldn't take like more than one time to like figure it out. Like we'd know right then and there.
Yeah, not that every time was perfect, because we definitely learned a lot from the shoots that we've had, but it's just something that you take from it. And again, you kind of add that to your wealth of knowledge, if you will, and continue to build on. And yeah, it's just something that you continue to expand on, which is the awesome part about that artistic creative field.
Never an end to it. And that's like, yeah, I think that's important, that you never find an end to being creative. Like even if it's not, like even if photography is not your thing, and if you're not into photography, or if you're not into film, if you're just listening to this because you want to listen to a podcast, like even if it's like whatever your work of like your field of interest is, like even then and there, like there couldn't be an end to it. If you're interested in it, if you want to invest in it, like I don't think there's ever an end to like the whole aspect of you doing things because you love it. Like we started doing things at the beginning because we loved to do it. We loved hanging out, we loved shooting, we loved creating, and like that initial spark is like what carries you through like all these stages that you go through. And even as we failed, even as we found that we couldn't do things like right off the bat or like on the first time, like we kept going because that spark was like still there. Like we would still like want to get things done. We still want to create because we love creating, not because like I mean, and this is like going straight to the point of today's topic. Like we didn't do things because we wanted to get paid or because we wanted to get money. Like we just did things back then, and even now, but definitely back then when we had nothing. And I was literally still in high school when I met him. And I just did things because like I wanted to do things. I wanted to create. And so I think that is very important. A lot of the things that we created from day one to now, like all of them was because we enjoyed doing them. We enjoyed having fun, just hanging out, shooting, bringing ideas to life. And that kind of puts us today like where we are.
And it kind of brings me like, I remember a quote that I've always kind of looked at is, if you do what you love, you'll never have to work a day in your life. And that's like always kind of stuck with me, because I remember, you know, being at shoots, and of course, you know, having a regular 9-to-5 job, which I've had, and it's just one of those things. And I guess I should say I still have technically, but it's one of those things that, you know, you have a passion for something, so you kind of put your all into it. I think it makes a big difference. Some people are fortunate enough to have super supportive, whether that be friends or family, but those few people, or you know, however many there would be in that situation, but those people that you have in your life that continue to support that. And I know like Matthias's family, and he's had close friends and family as well, really be supportive of projects that I've seen personally that honestly wouldn't have been possible to make some things happen for sure. I remember, like, brings me back to that film, you know, like we had everything planned out. There was so much to think about, the Again film, if you remember for sure. And we had so many things to think about, from planning out the actual shoot, from getting the footage, from the editing aspect. And then Matthias' creative side just takes over, and you want to go full on, like, you know, dude, why can't we just like make this like a movie theater release, like a little movie, little mini, like, we'll just have everything set up. We'll get a projector, we'll rent a venue, we'll get seats. And then we're like, okay, what about the people? And then, you know, believe it or not, like it worked out. We were expecting like, what, dude, maybe 5, 10.
Yeah, I was thinking 15 people max. Like, cause like when we like, keep in mind, we had set like at least I had written the film over a course of like 3 months. That's how long it took me to write it. And then on top, once I was finished writing that film, after those 3 months, then is when I brought it to Josh and I said, look, I have an idea, and I think this could be really good if we execute it properly. And I think it could be something that, you know, we both like remember forever. And so I brought him the idea of the Again film, which if you haven't seen, I will for sure link it in the bio. No shameless plug here, but if you haven't seen it, for sure check it out. But I brought him the idea of Again 3 months after I was done writing it. And I said, look, we have it. Do you want to help? Would you like to help? I don't have any actors or anything like to be in the film, but I would like to make it happen. And so I reached out to him and I said, would you like to help? And he was down. And so from that point in time when he said that he was down, like, to the day that we finished it completely, filming, editing, everything, it was about like what, 6 months? 6 months in time? 4 months?
Time, yeah.
4 months, 6 months. So we would go out every week, at least twice, sometimes even more, twice a week.
Yep.
Every evening, recording, getting everything we needed filmed. Essentially, what I'm trying to say is, like, from the day that he said yes to the day that we finished it, it was about 4 months to 6 months, and then it was done. And at that point in time, I was like beyond impressed with what we had built, what we had made. And I reached out to him. I was like, what if we like go full out and we rent out a venue and we get a projector and we play it as a movie? And yeah, one of our biggest questions was like, how many people are going to be there? Like, are we sure there's going to be anybody supporting besides our family? Like, do we know for sure like our family is going to be there, but like who else? Like, we were expecting 15 people and like 90% of those were our own family. So like, we really didn't expect anyone else to show up that wasn't our family.
It was more so for the hype of just that release that we were both super excited about regardless, but
and just to release it, was the exciting part, like, because like we wanted everybody to see it. And so we were making nothing out of it. And the cool thing about the Again film throughout the whole time was that like the whole film we partnered up with Thirst Project. And Thirst Project is a nonprofit organization that pretty much essentially raises money and builds water wells for countries that don't have water, and gives them water wells with clean water. So the whole time for the film, we were partnering up with Thirst Project, and we raised that money from the sales that we had at the event. We charged $5, I believe, for a ticket to go watch the film at the venue. So that was another reason why I wanted to do that. And then merch, I made merch for it. We sold merch at the venue as well.
Went all out for that.
Yeah, sure. I had like I made like at least like 20 or 25 shirts. I had 3 shirts left at the end of the night. So everything was like full on, nothing that we expected when we first started.
It went so great, like better than I could have expected, honestly. And yeah, dude, as far as the venue turnout, we pushed nearly 100 people like that evening, or close. We were completely blown away, and it was awesome, like having the support of the community as well too. For being kind of like in a small town, it is tough for people to kind of get together for things like these.
Yeah.
In Midwest America, but it shows that support that was there, and it was such a great feeling, And
I think like because of like the way that we portrayed the film, the way that we did the film, like people knew from the get-go that we made this film because we like, not because we were trying to make money off of it. They knew that we made it because we enjoyed filming, because we enjoyed creating. And like you could tell like when someone like approaches you and tells you that they want to rent out a venue for a film, and like you could just tell like someone's ambition like right off the bat. And like I think everybody knew when we were making it, like the family of the people we were using in the film, like everyone kind of just like trusted us like to do this and to like do it because we love it. And like they knew, like they put their trust in that.
Yeah, shout out to all you guys, you know who you are, who made big difference in that film coming to life.
Yeah. And I mean, looking at it, what is it, like two years now from the release?
It's been at least 2 years.
2 years at least. Man, it's like looking back at every single one of those times that we like went out and filmed, like how fun it was, like how much things have changed for each of us since the day that we released it.
That was such a good time. I really enjoyed that experience. I mean, it was not that everything was just stress-free and easygoing. There's a lot to think about, but all in all, I was really stoked with how it came out.
Yeah, like you said, nothing was like, wow, everything's gonna be like perfect. Like, no, there was times where like we just like we would go out and we wouldn't film anything because it didn't look like how we wanted it to look. And that kind of like just that overall topic kind of brings us to the main topic for today's podcast. And that is like, why do you do things? You as a listener, you as a viewer, you as just an individual, thinking about why you do things, and like if you do things for the right reasons, if you're a creator, if you create for the right reasons. Because nowadays I've seen too many people, and I mean too many people, do things, enjoy the things that they're doing, enjoy their field of art for a little bit, and then somewhere in between they kind of lose that, and it turns more into like a business side of things, which is totally okay to do, but you can never lose like that real reason why you should be doing things, The
reason that kind of drives you in the first place to kind of get that ball rolling, if you will. I think that's what makes a big difference. And I think like on my end, if I may say, that it's just something that, again, starting way back. I remember when I made my Instagram account. I think it was 2011, dude. Like it was a long
That
way
was
back.
the very first like Instagram layout too.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. It goes way back. Not that I can say much being a millennial, but but still, that goes way back. That's a long time. Thinking back at it now, but just shooting for fun, and obviously, like I was still just on iPhone only as well too at the time. I remember that was super a big hashtag at the time. Hashtag iPhone only. And it was just like, how creative can you be with just a phone camera? You know, not having all this fancy equipment, not having computers with like fancy editing programs, software, DSLRs, all this. But it's like, what can you make with what you have and the equipment you have? And that could be in any art. That could be whether you're an artist and you paint, or you're in any field. Every respective field would have similar situation. But as far as the photography, which I can relate to more, and I know Matthias as well too, that you're not limited to your tools. The tool isn't what makes you the artist. That's yourself, and you can make what you have work as much as you want, as much as you're driven to do. So from that start, you know, back then, to being able to get my first DSLR and first lenses and learning how that worked, and you're constantly developing. I know, Matthias, like if you look back at your first photos, you know, like you're like, wow.
Oh yeah, for sure.
You see how far you've come, right? Like it makes such a difference comparing those.
It's such like I know it's like the word of the time we're in right now, but like it's such like cringe to look back at like the old stuff. Like you like at that point in time you used to think was good, but like that's again back to the same thing. You thought it was good because you loved like doing it at the time. Like nothing was gonna tell you that it was bad if you thought it was good. Like that's what mattered at the time, because I loved doing it because you loved doing it, and if that was what we loved doing, then that was good, you know. Then now, like looking back at it, and like now is when you think like, dang, I can't believe I my pictures used to look like this. That's so cringe. But that's again, you know, back to the same thing, because you've grown, you've learned things, and you've loved
made you
it.
the artist today. Like
yeah,
it wouldn't have been the same without that. I think everyone does have to have that start. It makes such a difference how you view it. And that's the awesome thing about it, is that everyone looks at it from a different perspective too. Like I honestly, like when I'm in certain shoots for sure, I get like an adrenaline rush, honestly, from just being out there with the camera. You're in your element, you know, like how to handle the situation. And like one example specifically I'm thinking of is when I was with some friends of mine and we're going through like the canyons in California, and we were shooting their cars, shooting some roller shots, and seeing the sunset like dip down past the horizon. I was like, dude, this light is so like great fire.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is gonna make for some insane photos. And just knowing from seeing the setting, I'm like, this is gonna be good. We need to like set this up, get some good angles here, and find a good stretch of road that we can make this happen. And oh man, honestly, still probably some of my favorite shots from that evening. This would have been like 3 years ago, but we had some awesome results from that. And I got so hyped. We're going back for like another run with one of the other cars, and I'm just looking at the screen, like adjusting settings as you go. And I know you can relate to the feeling where you're just like, dude, I know these are gonna be so good.
Yeah.
And it's such a great feeling. And then those opportunities just open up on their own.
Right. And like I said, even in the last podcast I did, and if you haven't listened to it, make sure to check that out first. The podcast that I made to open up the rebranding of Pink Lemonade, the restart of Pink Lemonade, that I made about 2 weeks ago. I kind of mentioned something in that nature as well. Like when you start, you do it because you love it, and like it's hard sometimes to like always feel that way. And it's even when like you feel uninspired or like you just don't feel right to be doing it anymore, like the reason why you do it should always be because you love it. And like even now, like after I've been doing it for like, I don't know, 6-7 years, I still have so much fun with it. Like I still love doing it because it's just what I like doing. It's because it's what I like being creative, and it's still to me like really fun. I never feel like it's like a duty, or I never feel like I'm doing it, look, this is a chance for me to get money, so I'm gonna do it. Like money, if I didn't get paid to do what I do, like I would still do it. And I think that's like a question to put in each and every one of your guys' minds. Like obviously it's good to get paid, and at some point in time when your art is good enough, you deserve to be getting paid for it, right? But like most of these artists that we're talking about, whether it be musicians, whether it be photographers, whether it be artists in general, their main reason why they do it isn't for the money. And I'm not saying everyone, because some people have it going wrong, but most of them started because they love it and still continue to do because they love it. And like I said, now even like 6 years after I started, I still do this thing because I love doing it. And like, yes, it's an opportunity for me to make money off of it, but I love doing it. I love creating, and like that's not going to change. Nobody's going to change that for me. And I see a lot of people nowadays like starting or trying to start getting into creative field and like already wanting to charge. Like I think they're missing that, like I said in my prior podcast, they're missing that, like what I call a golden age of the journey, and that's like doing things and getting the hang of it, having fun with it. It's not like going right into it and charging like 2 weeks or 3 weeks after. Like
I think those are the people too that get burnt out quickly because they don't like find success at the very beginning, because their main goal isn't do it because they love it, but it's like, well, I can make a quick buck here or there.
Yeah, and what happens when you like stop making a buck, right? When you stop making money, like what happens then? Like that's, like you said, that's when they get burnt out, because like they started doing it for the money right off the bat. They wanted to make money off of it. They wanted to use it as a way to make profit. And like I said, what happens when you just stop making profit? Like, are you still going to do it? And most likely, and more often than not, the answer is going to be no. Like, you're not going to keep doing it because you initially started doing it to make money, right? And I think it's important that we cover that topic and make sure that we let people know, like, if you're into doing something or if you want to start doing something new, by all means, please go do it. Please, I love seeing people be creative. I love people reach out to me and ask me for tips and help, because at one point in time, like, you're going to need someone to help you, to teach you, just like I did and like everyone else does. And so, like, I love when people want to be creative and try something new. And I love when people come reach to me and talk to me about, like, yo, what can I do to start this? Or what can I do to be this? And I do my best to help. And, like, that's one of the advices that I always give. Like, do it because you're interested in doing it and because you love it, and don't do it more so for the money or for the profit. Because, like we're talking about now, like, at one point you're going to get burnt out. You're not going to make profit, and it's all going to feel like it's been gone to waste. Okay, now that we've covered mostly everything on how the initial progress is of doing something you love, let's try to maybe talk a little bit about where we are today. And do we feel like we've accomplished those things that we've talked about? Do we feel like we're at a spot in our lives or in time where we feel like we can say that we've done things and we continue to do things because we love them? Or, was there ever a time where we ourselves fell for that?
Yeah, I mean, I think personally, that's something I want to continue pushing. In the past couple years, I haven't been as active as I would like to in that creative aspect, or strictly photography, because besides that, I am an automotive technician. So when I'm not taking photos, I'm fixing cars, which is also another passion of mine. And I definitely enjoy the work I do being a tech, and it's something that has its pros and cons like anything, but finding the time to take the photos, it's kind of a balance between making both of that happen. Of course, being a tech, that's a full-time job, has been for the past 3 years. And with the photography side, that's more, when I had opportunity to take photos, I would. And that's something that I'm going to continue to do, and that's going to happen regardless.
Right. Whether
that be on the professional level and continue at that, or just more on the hobby side for fun. I think that's something that you never really lose, that creative aspect. I think you can definitely have creative ruts where you're not feeling inspired, but whether that be a random song, random movie you see, spending time with close people and family that make you who you are, then that kind of ignites that spark again, if you will.
All right, guys, that was it for this podcast. I appreciate you guys listening. From the bottom of my heart, I thank you guys for listening to this podcast. Many more to come. I hope you guys look out for these. I'll be reaching out to other people as well to be bringing in and talk about other things. Maybe not always about photography. Maybe sometimes, switch it up a little bit, but I will be bringing in more people talking about other things. But that's it for this episode. Josh, anything else you'd like to say?
Dude, honestly, just thank you so much for having me on again. And it's really great to finally catch up again. I know it's been a while. since I was overseas, since we got to catch up. So it's been awesome catching up again, and always talking that creative photography side. You know, I can always ramble on with that. So.
No, yeah, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming on. It does mean a lot. And with that being said, guys, I hope you guys enjoyed this podcast. I will catch you guys in the next one. Make sure to always remember to stay positive. From the topic of at hand, remember to stay grounded, and always remember to never settle. That's one of the most important things.
Need that on my fridge too.
So thank you guys, and we will see you guys next time.